Owning a CNC plasma table is all fun and games until it gets dirty. It's dirty. I'm gonna show you what to do with all that dirt in this episode.
But first,
ladies and gentlemen, this video is sponsored by ShopSabre. Why? Because I reached out to them. ShopSabre is a very easy company to advocate for because they make a hell of a product and multiple products that honestly have fabricators in mind. They have some of the best customer service. Everything's American made. The machines are incredibly versatile, modifiable, you can change them around, and they're incredibly durable. Even the entry-level stuff is built like a tank. So consider ShopSabre for your next CNC need.
now, on with the video.
Now, partners, we're talking maintenance. All right, well, it's maintenance time. Been using this table for about a year and a half. Realistically, only my second water table change. But it's time to change. The slats are getting dirty, water's dirty, the machine is dirty, and we're just gonna clean it up and take you along with us so that by the end of this, nice and clean, ready for 2022 here at Lift Arc Studios. So first steps first is drain the water. The point of the water table, at least as far as I'm concerned, is to capture all the slag, all the dust, all the smoke, all the debris and bad stuff that's generated from the cutting process. I am in a metropolitan area. I am in downtown Roanoke, Virginia, and I didn't want to go with an air downdraft table, meaning no water, exhaust all the smoke out somewhere, because I'm up against buildings all the way around, and I didn't even want to open the conversation as far as how to properly discharge smoke and whatnot outside my building. So I knew I wanted a water table for that reason. Everything's contained. There's no more smoke than like any other welding or plasma cutting process. All this dirt in here is what's being captured in here versus being shot out into the atmosphere. So I've cut everything on this same water, aluminum, stainless, mild steel. Some guys say that's not a good idea. You should swap water between stainless and aluminum, but it sounds nice, but I don't have the luxury of I don't have the time to change the water in between almost every job, because at my shop I work with different materials all the time. You might be down in the comments right now saying, oh my God, that brown stuff is X, bad chemical. You're probably right. That water is so cold. I feel like because it has antifreeze in it, it's colder than freezing. The water table obviously is full of water, and you gotta get that water out when it's time to drain. So the table came with a stub out at the bottom of the water table. It was like a 3-inch threaded pipe, and it was just capped off. So what I did was went to a plumbing supply store, and I got a big ball valve, a nipple, a reducer, and then some 1-inch pipe so that I could bring the water out to here. And then I adapted it to a garden hose fitting, so that now I can just hook a garden hose up to this when it's time to drain, run it out into the the wastewater. It's all non-toxic, and drain it easily without having to use buckets or dump it on the floor. I don't have a floor drain in my shop, so anything that gets spilled either needs to be cleaned up or shot outside. So I'm gonna use a long garden hose, run it out into the sewer, and drain the non-toxic water out into there, and then we'll see what's hiding underneath all the water in the table. People have varying degrees of sensitivity when it comes to taking care of their machines. I'm usually somewhere in the middle. There's people that will freak out if any dirt gets on their machine, and there's people that will run these things until you can't see any of the color or paint on them anymore. They're just covered in dirt. I've been occupying probably the cleaner side of the two spectrums, but being that we want to film this whole video, I want to take this section to show you how to clean it, change the water, change the slats, and all that. So in every plasma system, there are sacrificial parts of the table, because the plasma torch has to go through the material that you're cutting, and then it's going to cut into whatever is holding your material, which is why these slats are considered sacrificial. And these aren't even that bad. Most guys run their machines until there's barely any left. There'll just be a peak here and a peak there. So these have a lot of life left in them. I don't run my machine nearly as hard as I could. I like to, if I'm changing the water, I like to pull all these out hit them with a coarse grinding wheel, knock all the slag off of them. That way the table stays nice and level and there's no bumps. So, and it makes cleaning the bottom of the table a lot easier when you pull these out. So it's kind of necessary, and if I gotta pull them out anyway, I might as well clean them. So my table's a 5x10, which is the second biggest size that ShopSabre makes in the Sidekick series. The slats came with the table, but it's not like they're proprietary things. They're just pieces of like 3-inch flat bar. So if these were completely destroyed, I could order some flat bar, obviously, and make my own slats, or if I had a bunch of 1/8-inch steel laying around, I could use the machine to cut new slats for itself. Plenty of options there. These ones at the back of the machine aren't nearly as worn as the ones on the front. It's like rotating your tires on your car. If there's a particular area of the machine that you use the most, that'll be where the slats are the most damaged. You could even flip them upside down if you want and give yourself a clean edge, but I'm nowhere near having to do that yet. There's plenty of life left in this. Because all this is scrap metal, so it's recyclable. So you want to get all this nasty crap out of here and take that to the scrap yard. There's all kinds of goodies in here still, probably. I see some letters, but it's mostly that. So just little bits of molten metal, that's all that is. I'm gonna do a stainless Mythbusters style lift arc builds intro, where you see LIFTARCBUILDS welded real fast to a thing. So I'm saving all these letters. Hopefully I have the ones I need. I'm pretty good about fishing them out as I cut, but I know there's gonna be stuff in here that I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that project. It's like the dirtiest time capsule of all time. Yes!
Hey!
This machine is the shit. The other thing on the topic of maintenance that I'm going to tackle by doing this is my building had a brand new slab poured over top of an old concrete slab as the floor. It has since moved a little bit. Parts of the slab have come up and swelled, especially where the joints are. So I have a feeling that this machine is no longer perfectly level. So in this process of cleaning it up and going through everything, I'm also gonna check the level and re-level the machine if necessary.
I need a plasma cutter. Woo!
Yeah, I mean, you don't really see this in the brochure, but luckily you don't have to do it that often. High level stuff today is I can't afford really to be down this long. Not that I've been down that long, I've only got a few hours in this. The whole machine is gonna get cleaned. I got some nice degreaser. Just wanna shine it up for, well, just to take care of it, but also, you know, for this video, for you guys. To show you that a year and a half in from using this thing, and it really doesn't get, you know, it's not hard to take care of a machine like this is what I'm trying to say. We'll pass a grinder over all these slats, get the slag off of them, get them cleaned up, and then reorganize them with the freshest slats up front, being that's where I use the table most. and the most haggard slats at the back. So without further ado,
Adieu.
let's do those things. Wanted to get as much dross off of them as possible, but if you look down them, they're flat, and that's the whole point. These gouges don't matter, because the whole point of these slats is to hold our work piece flat, because as long as there's enough peaks on here to hold your work material level and support it while it's being cut, that's all that matters. The other thing I did was this rail here is the rail that faces the shop, and it's the rail that sometimes the forks rub up against as I'm loading and unloading material. So I cleaned it, some of the paint came off, and I put some of this really industrial grade epoxy on there. And then once that dries, I'm gonna take this stuff that I bought originally for my canoe project, and this is a hard rubber thing with a 3M adhesive backing. So, and I have two of those. So I'm gonna put one over there and one over there where the forks hit. That way I have some abrasion resistance so that I can drag my forks on that rail and not hurt anything. The table's looking good. You know, there's some spots where there's a little bit here and there, but considering this thing has had water sitting in it for almost 2 years, I'd say that is an acceptable amount of whatever you want to call it. This isn't even corrosion, this is buildup, so I could keep scraping all day, but again, doesn't matter, I have better things to do. All in all, very, very pleased with how this machine has held up. I do take care of my machines, so that helps, but ShopSabre makes a nice heavy-duty industrial product. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my slats back in, then we'll fill it back up. I've got some additive from Cutting Fluids Direct, which I really like. You know, a note on that, ShopSabre makes their own plasma table additive called Plasma Defense, or it used to be called Plasma Defense. I think they've come out with something better, which I would love to give a shot. I stopped using their original version of Plasma Defense because I was having so-so luck with the corrosion resistance quality of that stuff. I think the new stuff they've come out with is far better. And they also have specific stuff to like for aluminum cutting, stainless cutting. I kind of ignore that part of plasma table life because I'm lazy, and it's also expensive and clearly time consuming to change your water all the time. Especially when you're a one-man band like me, everything grinds to a halt while you do this kind of thing. Let's put the slats in and fill it up with water. This is Sterling Cool Plasma Cut Metalworking Fluid. It's got an anti-corrosive, so your metal, not only the metal in your table, but the metal you're cutting and may sit on your table, doesn't rust. It has an antimicrobial additive, so nothing grows in it, algae or anything. And I believe it also has a antifreeze property as well. My shop is not heated and the water has never frozen, and it's the middle of February. So even if that's not true, it seems to work. There's a rule of thumb for this stuff. It says use it 20-to-1 to 10-to-1. Add product to water, stir or circulate to ensure complete mixing. The right way to do it is to calculate the volume of the water in your table and then make the right ratio. I've kind of found that for my table, a 5x10, you want to use basically an entire 5-gallon bucket. I'll do the math on that real quick just to see. Let's do that. So it's 165 gallons of water in this table if I fill it to the top. This whole 5-gallon bucket would yield a 33-to-1 ratio, which is a little higher than the 20-to-1. So I'm gonna add 3/4 of this and play it by ear. The thing I like about this Sterling Cool stuff is it does not evaporate. So the water in the table will evaporate over time, but the additive does not. So you can continue to refill the table with water and not have to add additive every time, which is really nice. You can get this stuff at cuttingfluidsdirect.com. Ships really quick, it's quite affordable. So I'm gonna add this, fill it with water, then we're ready to cut again. So maintenance-wise, we're almost done. It's blue.
Yeah, don't drink it, ladies and gentlemen.
Very not an exact science. All right, so we let it fill, and then we are ready to cut again. The only one thing I'm gonna do before we start going again is I'm gonna grease all the grease fittings. There's instructions for that come in the ShopSabre owner's manual. Anything that moves, metal on metal, keep it lubricated. Oh, yeah, wow. Excuse you. One thing I will say about ShopSabre's design is that their rack gear is facing down, so you don't have the opportunity to get dirt into the gears. However, this bearing way here, this track, is exposed to the elements and to the dust, so I'm a metal shop. I'm making fine metal dust all the time. So one thing I've gotten in the habit of doing is wiping these down if I've been creating a bunch of dust for a while, so that the bearings on the carriage don't roll over all that fine metal dust and it starts to eat away. That stuff can make it right into all the bearings and everything and really wreak havoc. So if I've been making dust for a while, I'll wipe it down with an oiled rag and then cut. So one note, ShopSabre does now offer a protecting plate that you can add to your cutter that protects these. I didn't get that because I don't think they had it when I ordered my machine, but now they do. Lucky you. Okay, so maintenance of a plasma cutter. It depends. Do you have an air table, downdraft table, or a water table? Obviously, the maintenance change out, water flush part of a water table is dirty and fairly time consuming. The upside is with proper intermediate maintenance, you don't have to do that but once a year, maybe every 6 months if you're cutting a lot. This thing isn't running 24/7 in my shop. It might be running 24/7 in your shop, in which case you might have to change out your water more often. It also depends on how sensitive you are when you're mixing materials. I admittedly am not that sensitive because I'm not doing a whole lot of each. I mean, mild steel is what I do the most of. So is there more maintenance for a water table? Yes. If you don't clean the water table, I imagine over time the effectiveness of the additive will diminish and then things will start to rust. Worst case scenario, the tray, the pan will rust through. And then that's a big repair. Just use common sense and use your eyeballs. ShopSabre is really awesome as far as customer service goes. So if there's anything I haven't answered as far as maintenance, give them a call and also consult your owner's manual. That goes for any complicated machine. Consult your owner's manual. Read the instructions, guys. It's not cool and macho to just pretend like you know what you're doing. You're gonna break stuff. Read the manual. So I'm going to show you how to level a plasma machine or anything this size. I'm going to use a technique that surveyors use, and I'm going to utilize my Bosch laser level. And if you're a metal fabricator, installer, contractor, odds are you own one of these because they are amazing. They are cheat codes. You can establish a level line in a world where there is no level. What I'm going to use it for is to cast a level laser line about 6 inches over the surface of this table. And then I'm gonna walk around to all 6 legs with this ruler. And I'm gonna put this ruler on the rail and I'm gonna see where that laser line hits. And the variance between all 6 adjustable legs is gonna tell me if I need to go up on the leg, down on the leg, because I'm fairly positive my concrete slab has moved since it's been poured. And I'm looking in the water table, and the water's closer to the top of the slats at that side of the table than it is over there. Another indication that the table may not be level anymore, which isn't really a big deal because with torch height control and everything, it all works fine, but the water level is the main thing. But any machine of this precision should be level. So we're gonna do that now. So basically, got our table. We'll have a number here, 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 here. because there's 6 legs and each leg has an adjustable foot. So take our baselines and then we'll come back and look at this. We have 2 feet that measure 3 3/4, so I'm just going to use that as my datum. So we have one over here that's way off, 4 1/4, which means that corner is low. So a bigger number in this case means it's lower. So this side needs to come up 1/2 inch, and then these others a little less, and this one is actually high, it needs to go down. I'm gonna grab a wrench, go around and manipulate all these until we level it back out, and then we'll have a perfectly level table.
The pain you've been through.
Shout out to Dylan Dent. Listen to his music, buy his merch.
You were made for a purpose. You're far more than worthless. So sit back.
All right, so now we're leveled within a 1/16. It was quite a bit out of level. And actually now that it is level, the water level reflects that. So there's the same amount of space down from the top of the slats all the way across the table. So I was almost a 1/2 inch out in one corner high, which pushed all the water kind of to the other side of the table. So now if only I could find the motivation to level all the other tools in my shop. Not a super crucial part, it wasn't that out of level, but now I have peace of mind that if I ever have any issues cutting, I know it's not because my machine's out of level. So that's how you do it. Buy yourself a laser level, they're rad. So yeah, it's a lot of work. It took me about 2 days to make it happen. And then of course, I've got to cutting since I've flushed all this table out and it's dirty again. But it's far less dirty than it was. There's far less debris on the bottom of the water table than there was. And being that I've gone through everything and checked everything, I know the condition of the water table and I'm nowhere near any severe corrosion issues. If it gets too gross, I will just drain the table and then refill it, you know, with some new additive versus doing the whole tear down like I did before. That takes, you know, an hour or 2 versus 2 days. But overall, it's not that bad. It's not like complicated work. It's just sort of like dumb monkey work, you know, just a bunch of scraping and banging and vacuuming and cleaning and cussing. But thank you for watching. I hope that helped. But in the next video, we will show you how to make parts from beginning to end. You won't want to miss it. Like, subscribe, or don't. See you in the next one. It looks like, oh. Never mind.
You're about to comment on how stable it is?
Sketchy it was. Also, at the time of this video coming out, I am currently in the running to win the DIY Hero competition and potentially win $25,000 in a 2-page feature in Make magazine, which would change my life. I mean, let's be honest. Voting is live now, and I need your help more than ever in the next few weeks because they make cuts from the groups and I gotta survive all the cuts. So click the link down in the description. If you wanna vote for me, it would mean the world. There's free votes and then all paid votes not only help me win, but it goes to benefit the American Lung Association. So thank you so much. See ya.